Hey guys, after Derby City, I was talking to myself and I think to the camera about maybe adding another goal uh, for 2023 for myself. And that goal was, you know, play with what I play best with. And at first it was just, okay, that'd be a cool idea. But the more I thought about it, the more I thought about it, I thought, yeah, why wouldn't I want to play with what I play best with? I mean, I am a pool player and I want to play my best, so yeah. What I ended up doing was deciding that I was going to spend the month of March, this is March like 19th or 20th, 2023, and I was going to find out which cue do I play best with. Now I have 39 pool cues, and I didn't test all 39 pool cues. I played with all of them often enough that I kind of had an idea of how well I shot with each one of them. And I can play pretty well with any of them. Sometimes it takes me a couple hours, sometimes it might take me a day, sometimes it's immediate. But what I ended up doing instead of 39, I just picked 8. I had to pick a number, and I picked 8 cues. So I've been calling the month of March March Madness. I didn't make that name up. I got it from somewhere. And I've been calling the 8, you know, competitors of mine, um, the Elite 8. Again, I didn't make that name up. Don't know where I got that. But and the plan was, play with this cue for a day or two, play with this cue for a day or two, play with this cue for a day or two. And then at the end of the month, I would have a pretty darn good idea of which one do I play best with. Or maybe it would be a wash. Honestly, just didn't know. That's what I've been doing since first of March. I pick up a cue and play with it for a day or two, put it down, pick up something else, play with it for a day or two. And so I don't want to be the pool cue channel. I've said that before. But this video is kind of going to be about pool cues and my elite 8. These are the real contenders that I have. I made a video once about, hey, what might be a new main if I lose my Southwest. I've done videos about, like, what are my prettiest cues, what are my best hitting cues, what would be my best league cues. This is it's different. These are the cues that I play best with that I feel like could really, they could be my mains, and I would be happy with that decision. Now, I have added one thing to the whole what do I play best with. It's got to be usability. And when I say usability, I'm mainly talking about a couple of things. I'm talking about I, I want to have an extra shaft. Don't often need an extra shaft. But if something happens to the shaft I'm playing with, I pop a tip or something, and I don't have an extra, then that would suck. So the extra shaft is part of the usability, and that's important to me. And the other thing is an extension. Can I put an extension on the cue? Kid, don't always need one, but when I do, and I can't put it on, that would suck, and I got to go use a bridge like a caveman. So not as important as how well do I play, but still important. I'm doing my best to ignore street cred and things like that. I don't I'm not a perfect person, believe it or not. So I'm sure there's still some got to have street cred and all that in there as well. But I'm really been trying to base this on how well do I play, and again the usability thing. So I'm just going to go through my Elite Eight. These are in no particular order. Uh, this right here is my Run Deshawn. Oh, there's not going to be any cue you guys haven't seen before. This is my Run Deshawn. I bought it this past summer. This was never a main cue of mine. It was under brief consideration, but it wasn't. It just wasn't. This is the only one I have with a low squirt shaft as well. It's got the Jacoby Edge hybrid. This is my B shaft. This shaft was my main shaft for almost a decade on various Sean cues. Um, I mean, I like it a lot. It's definitely old school, definitely cool looking. Doesn't take an extension. Next. This is my Tim Scruggs. And I thought when I first started this whole March Madness tournament of mine that this would win. I always felt like I shot really well with this Scruggs. I got used to it almost immediately. This was my main. Well, it was my main from when I got it until I got the Southwest. Um, 4 or 5 months. This was my main cue. I always shot really well with it. Love the way it looks. It's absolutely grown on me. The way it looks doesn't take an extension. Fine. Again, that's not a deal breaker. It's just something I wish it did. If there's a way to put an extension on the Scruggs, I don't know that way. Next, this cue here is what I call my main peach hour. And this is either my best hitting cue, or it's in second place behind my Jocelyn 7. Absolutely, unbelievably fantastic hit with this cue. This does take an extension. I bought the extension kit from Peach Hour along with the extension. Not a damn thing wrong with this cue, except rounded points. And absolutely not a deal breaker, but it kind of bothers me. I have a bunch of cues that have sharp points, and then now it's a rounded point. Anyway, so that's that. This right here is my Tascarella. This was my main cue from this past August until Derby City. What can I say about this cue? I was so happy to get this cue. There was a bunch of stuff we had to go through with communication errors and stuff to get this cue. I just love it. Does not currently take an extension, but if I send it off to Pete Tascarella, he can do it. They sell extensions now, so he has to do something with this and sell an extension. So it does not take an extension, but it could. It's got the compression fit, which I really like. Hits. This is a wow hitting cue for me. So was the Peach Hour wow hitting cue. I forgot to mention that. Absolutely great. I pick this up and I shoot with it, and sometimes I shoot really well, and sometimes I don't feel like I'm shooting really well. Sometimes I still feel like with this cue that I borrowed somebody's cue. Maybe because my main cue didn't have an extra shaft and I blew a tip. So I borrowed your cue. Sometimes I felt like that with this cue. Sometimes it feels like mine, and sometimes it feels like it's something I'm just borrowing. Next. So this is my Richard Black cue. I just got this right after Derby City was over for me this past year. Richard Black, to me, has as much street cred as Southwest in a cue, and that's a lot because I have an inordinate amount of street cred impression on Southwest and also on Richard Black. Bucket list cue item for me. Does not take an extension. If it does, I don't know how. And the other thing about this cue, I don't know if it's going to show up, is down here around the Delrin, it's discolored with age. It's a little bit brown. And I don't know, I haven't been able to find a way to, make it white again. It's short of getting this entire thing replaced. And I don't think I want to do that. When I first got this thing, I got used to it immediately, and there was zero doubt in my mind. Man, this is my main cue for the next several weeks, months, years, whatever. It's fantastic cue, and it is a fantastic cue. But it seemed like after a week or two, that new cue smell kind of wore off, and I started shooting just more like my normal self instead of shooting really well with this guy. I still play well with it. It wouldn't be on this table right now. Next, it's my Southwest. This is my main for a year before I got that Tascarella. I've always loved Southwest Q's and the idea of one, and I will always be very happy and proud that I own a Southwest Q. And I do play well with this, but it usually takes me about a day. If I haven't played with this for a while and I go to pick it up, the squirt characteristics are weird compared to the other Qs. It seems like with a low tip offset off of center, it squirts more than it should, more than I'm expecting. With a big offset, like a lot of left English, for example, it doesn't squirt as much as I was expecting. So it's a little bit backwards as far as that goes. This does take an extension. I did a video about how I had this modified to take an extension, and I probably lost 100 subscribers because of that. But yeah, this would have been my sentimental favorite going into March. This would have been the one that I would have been absolutely ecstatic if I get to the end of March and he's the winner. Yep, because it's a. Did I mention it's a Southwest also? That's really cool to me. There's him. Next. Sean, R12. This is my oldest possession. And remember I talked about doing videos about my best hitting cues, my lead cues, my contender cues and all that. This was in every one of those videos. This setup right here, this is the main shaft. This setup right here was my main from 1991 until 2001. My heyday as a pool player was with this. Now after 2001, I did switch to low squirt shafts, but this butt with a low squirt shaft was my main for another 10 years until 2011. The thing about this cue though is when I pick this cue up and shoot with it, my inner pool player, Obi-Wan Moscone I've called him, is who's doing the shooting, because he shot with this, and Dave, I never shot with this cue, but Obi did, and it was immediately evident to me how relaxed I was able to shoot, how accurate I was able to shoot, as far as not having to allow for squirt and swerve and all that. It was like my inner pool player had some 20-year-old muscle memory that was just like, yay, we finally got something that we know how to shoot with. I've been saying forever that I try to be a field player and all that. And I do, and I am, compared to a lot of people. But back then, I was a 100% field player. And it was with this setup right here. Stock shaft, R12 butt. And then next, this might surprise some people, this is my McDermott D12. I've said many times that I became what I consider to be a good pool player back in Omaha with a McDermott D12. Not this one, but one like this. And again, I've kind of seen the muscle memory, like my inner pool player knows how to shoot with this. It seems to play about the same as the old one. I guess it must. I don't remember how the old one played, but I got used to this like immediately, and I played much more relaxed with this cue than anything else on the table except that R12. And I like playing relaxed. So those are my Elite 8 cues. I have a bunch of other ones over there, and they just didn't make my Elite 8. That doesn't mean I'm going to sell them or throw them in the fireplace or have a bonfire or whatever. It just means they're not in contention for this March Madness tournament that I'm having. And so that is going to be this video. Eventually, probably at the end of March, I'll put out another video and say, hey, who won? Which one of these cues won the tournament? And then I'll also mention, am I going to switch? Say that the D12 wins the tournament. I shoot the best with the D12. Am I really going to take that leap and put all my custom cues on the wall and play with the D12? Am I really going to do that? Don't know the answer to that question 100%. I fluctuate. Sometimes I'm like, yep, I'm absolutely going to do it. Sometimes I'm like, well, it depends on what it is. Anyway, I'm rambling. Bye, guys.